Okay, so folks, we are very, very honored to have, well, let's ask the audience here first. Who here struggles with posing? Right? I think I do, for sure. Now we have to talk about couples posing. So that's even more fingers and hands and all sorts of different things to do. But, and who here wants to go on a destination wedding? Right? Well, we have Michelle Harris here to guide us on that. She is a wonderful educator and speaker and photographer. She has been in her own community educating people on weddings. She's been killing it, nailing it, and especially with the posing. And then I'm going to try to talk to her how I can get into one of the suitcases for the destination weddings. But we're very honored to have Michelle Harris here. 48 couple poses, 8 minutes, 1 lens, and also sponsored by our friends at Sigma. So take her away. Thank you so much. Big round of applause. Yes.
Thank you all so much. You could be anywhere, so I appreciate that you chose to come here and learn from me today. So like I said, I'm Michelle Harris. I am a Sigma ambassador. The QR code here will go to my Instagram if you wanted to see what my work looks like and that type of thing. But I am a DC-based destination wedding photographer. And I have been doing this since 2015. So I've shot well over 200 weddings, and I also have an associate team as well. And they are named after my oldest daughter, which is L.A.S.H. So I have M Harris Studios, where I shoot photo and video with my team. And then I have the associate team, L.A.S.H. Studios, who shoot weddings all year for me. And then I have a Master of the City workshops, which is what he was talking about, for my destination workshops for photographers. So if you're wanting to learn better posing, lighting, all the different things, come get your portfolio refreshed, pricing, all these different things all in one day. I have them all over. So I had the one for New York on Tuesday, since I was going to be here today. And then next, I think, is DC, New Orleans, a couple different places all over the United States. So I have those, and I am a mom of 3. I have 2 girls and a little boy. And I am a cheese connoisseur. I love all cheese, but not cheese product, okay? And just so you know, Kraft is cheese product. I don't know if you've ever like read it. You'll probably never eat it again. But like actual cheese from like the deli, I'm obsessed with all the cheese. All right, so what we're gonna cover today is not your typical, well, I'm lying. It's more like a typical wedding day, but not how it's planned. No one ever really plans to have less than 30 minutes for portraits, but that's what happens more often than not. So we're gonna talk about what happens when they didn't do a first look, when people didn't show up, people are all over the place and the timeline's a mess, and you're given less than 10 minutes to do the couple's portraits. So I want everyone in here to raise your hand if you, in your investment guide, in your business, how you're booking your weddings, have complimentary engagement sessions listed. Okay, so not even that many. So how many people have engagement sessions, but they don't have it listed complimentary? Okay. A lot of y'all didn't, so y'all not doing engagement sessions? Because this math is math here. All right, but anyway, engagement sessions should never be listed as complimentary. In order to get this the entire process of the 48 and 8 done, you have to do an engagement session because you need to have met your couple before. You need to have worked with them before so that they have an idea of what they're supposed to do in order to do it really fast. Now, everyone in here who has complimentary listed here on your investment guide, you have it there so that you don't have to have hard conversations. Because if someone comes to me and they say, hey, I already did an engagement session, how much is it if I take this out? Y'all get to say, oh, what's complimentary so it doesn't change the price? My answer is no. You cannot take the engagement session out because it's my job and it's your job to educate them on the importance of an engagement session. Their thinking is just, it's just another day where I have to go get my hair and makeup done and find another outfit and then go out to this place and do all this stuff. It just seems like a hassle when I've already done it. But what's important to me is that I meet you before your wedding day. And that I work with you, pose you. I don't want to find out if you have a good side or a bad side or something that you are really insecure about. Any of that type of stuff on your wedding day. because we don't have time. I want to learn that about you, and it'll make you feel more comfortable with me posing you on your wedding day. Now, I've never had a couple be like, nah, I'm good. But it is your job to explain that. There are a couple, exceptions like military and if they're not going to be together before the wedding and that type of stuff. But like in general, I have everybody have an engagement session, and there's nothing complimentary about it, guys. Like engagement sessions, you have to plan it, and then you have to drive there, and then you have to shoot it, and then you have to go home and you have to color it, then you have to edit it, and then you have to upload it. That's a lot of work. It shouldn't even be complimentary. And everybody knows that as much as we all appreciate something that's free, you appreciate it more when you know it has value. So I always have engagement sessions listed a la carte so they can see how much it is, and also in my wedding collections as well. So we're going to talk about engagement sessions before we even get to the whole process, because this is when it begins. The most important part of an engagement session is your initial conversation as soon as you get there. Because as soon as you find the place, you're like, okay, I'm going to shoot them here, guys, go ahead and put your bags here, take everything out of your pockets, that type of thing. And you're like, okay, this is where we're gonna start shooting. The first thing I'm gonna do is have a conversation with them. Now, I'm going to go over this conversation if there is a man and a woman in the engagement session, but it still works the exact same if they are same-sex couples as well. So the first thing that I'm going to ask them, though, is do you have any insecurities? That may seem like a weird question to ask up front, but what that does is it lets them know that you care about what they look like and how they feel. And it gives you permission to address it. So if you just start your engagement session and you have them sit down and they start laughing, and then they do this laugh where they go backwards like this and nobody looks good like this, and you're like, oh, no, make sure you go forward. In their minds, it starts to go downhill. They start to think about their insecurities and their focus on their insecurities and making sure that you don't see them so that you don't have to say it again. But if you ask them and they tell you, that's them giving you permission to address it without the downward spiral, because you don't want them to start thinking about these things. Now, it is your job, if you ask them and they tell you, you have to make sure that you pay attention, because that's worse. You can't say, oh, I'll make sure that your stomach looks good, this is what you're really worried about, and then not do it. Because then they're gonna be like, oh my God, I don't know what my photos are gonna look like on my wedding day. So if they tell you that, you have to address it, and you can then tell them, okay, you wanna suck in a little bit here. You can't just tell somebody that off the gate in their engagement session, but they'll appreciate it if they said, hey, this is a problem, please help me. So that's the first thing I go over. And then I talk to them about the things that I'm going to make them do regardless of their insecurities anyway. So the first thing I do is, with the man here, I would say, look, you have one job. Your job is to keep your hand that is not touching her, holding her, any of that, in your pocket. That is the only thing I need you to do today. And naturally, they're like, oh, okay, I can do that. I got this. I can do that. And it makes them relax, because all the guys in here know that they're not great with photos. And they're just nervous that they're going to let their fiance down. So if you let them know how easy it is, it just takes the pressure off. Now, am I gonna ask them to do more than what I just said? Yeah, but they're fine, because most of the time that is true, where I just need their hand in their pocket. And then I will turn to the woman and I'll say, look, there's a couple things I need you to do, but it's all to make sure that you look your best. So what's gonna happen is I'm going to have you face each other a lot. And when we do that, you are going to shift your weight away from me. So it's not moving your feet. My feet didn't move. But you know how you can go this way or that way, this way or that way. So you are going to take your waist back. Because we all know that what is further away from the camera gets smaller, and everything closer gets bigger. So as she does this, not only is she going to have a shape that she didn't have without this tiny little bit of movement, but if she wanted to suck in, she could. If you try to do it like this, it looks very uncomfortable and it makes everybody look bigger. So here is where you want to be. And I used to tell people to bend their knee, but then you'd get like this, and it didn't end up working out, and then it looked crazy. So they keep their feet together, and then it's just a slight thing. I also, for her, have her put one foot in front of the other when she's walking. Now, there are other people who will say, oh, walk like you're on a tightrope. I do not recommend saying these things, okay? That makes them think about this in their head really hard, because then, like, it's one thing to be like, okay, put one foot in front of the other, like, oh, okay, I can do that. And then a tightrope, they're like literally trying to walk like this, okay? It's not helpful. So just one foot in front of the other, and that's because we naturally just kind of walk like this, okay? But I want to catch her here, because it's going to make her leg look long, which is going to make it look taller, slimmer, all the things that most women want to look. So I go over that, and then I go over almost kiss, because I look at them and I say, look, I'm going to tell you to kiss during this, and it sounds self-explanatory, but it's not. And that's because if I tell you to kiss, you are going to go straight forward, and your noses are going to touch. They're going to bend in a little bit, and then you're going to pucker your lips to get your lips to theirs. So your face ends up looking like this, which is ultimately not that flattering on anybody. So what we're going to do is an almost kiss. So the man and the female, I'm going to have her turn this way, towards me, because I'm shooting over there. So we're going to see all her hair and her makeup and all the things, and then he's going to go the other way. Now you can also switch, and that's what I do if they're same sex. I'll have one go one way the one time, and then I'll have them switch. It's only a matter of tilting their head here. They'll bring their head in real close. They'll smile, which is awkward, because you never really get that close to people and then smile in their face, but it's really pretty. You'll see. And that's what I tell them. I'm like, it's awkward, but I promise it's pretty. And then right after, they can kiss without having their noses all smudged up together. So those are the things that I go over before I even pick up my camera. Because by the end of that conversation, they know that I care about how they look. And I care about how they'll feel in these photos. And that I know exactly what I'm doing. By having this conversation, it also eliminates the whole, oh, can we go over here? Oh, I saw this. Can I do this one pose? Like where they kind of take over the session. That gets eliminated here. Because they're like, okay, this person knows what they're doing, and I hired them, I'm going to listen to them. That should be their natural reaction without the conversation, but we all know that that's not how it always goes. All right, so a couple other important details. You do not have to unnecessarily touch your clients. I've encountered a lot of photographers, I do a lot of workshops where everyone has their turn. They all have 90 seconds to go do their pose, and while everyone shoots around, and then we swap. And I've encountered a lot of people who come up and they're like, oh, here, put your hand here, and I'm gonna do here. No, put your hand in here, and don't touch them. You do not have to. All you have to do is mirror them. Say, hey, I want you to put your hand right here on his arm. Okay, go ahead and put your hand right here. They will do it. If you say, hey, turn towards me this way, they'll turn. Even if they turn the wrong way, you say, not that way, the other way. It's only two options. You don't have to go physically move them, though. Now, I'm not talking about if there's a hair in the way, a necklace is off, and that type of stuff. I'm saying you can do those things, but I've seen people manhandle people into poses. Don't do that. Now, a very important part of the 48 and 8 flow is telling your couples that once you put them in a pose, they have to stay in that pose. Because otherwise, it takes seconds to put them back in. And seconds add up quick. So like if they're holding each other back here, and then you're taking a couple pictures and they let go, and they're like, oh, what? And then they got to get back into it and put their hands and do all the things all over again. That's extra seconds we don't have when we're talking about this timeline. And then we have to make sure that men, when they have their suit jackets and you have them do things with their arms, it is your job to tell them to unbutton their button so that they don't have all of their stuff like all up in their neck, okay? Most of the time they don't feel it. They're focused on what they're doing. So it is your job to unbutton the button. And just a little side note, men and everybody who loves a man, make sure that they only button the top button on a blazer. I don't care if there's 17 buttons. It's only the top button that you ever will button. One time I had one of my friends did this whole wedding, was so excited, it was so glamorous, they were like, we're definitely gonna get this featured, and it got denied because of that button. So make sure that you do that. All right, so what we're gonna talk about before we get into the posing is my acronym for variations within a pose. And by the way, at the very end of this, I will have a QR code where you can get the online version of this class. So if you wanna go back and refresh your memory, that'll be at the very end. So for L.A.S.H, no matter what pose you put two people in, they can do lash. Except back to back, that's about it. The only one. So for lash, L is laugh. Now there's a lot of people who would teach you these things and prompts and all of that, and if you use those, have at it. I personally don't have time, especially in this situation. I want y'all to look at each other and laugh. They'll do it, okay? We don't have to do a whole thing. And then sometimes you do them prompts and they really laugh and you're like, oh my God, it was such a genuine laugh. It's like, cool, but she might not like that laugh, because that laugh's a little harder than the normal laugh that she would want. Now, and you could take it, and then what they do with it, they do with it. But all you have to do is say, look at each other, and I want you to laugh. And normally, and you'll hear it later, because I have a video that I'm gonna play, I literally say laugh, and then I'll fake laugh. I'm like, ha ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha, it's so funny, ha ha ha. And I don't care if they're laughing at me, each other, what they're laughing at. As long as they're laughing, great. Take that and we'll move on. So L is for laugh, A is for almost kiss, which I just told y'all how to do. And then smile is, they can smile at each other, have one smile this way, one smile at the camera, that type of thing. Or slay, where if you like those, where they kind of like look off into the distance together, that type of thing. Use the S for whatever works for you. And then H is for heads. So you can think about, have these two people and they're in this pose. What can I do with their heads to make this different? They can put their foreheads together. You can have one put their head on the other's shoulder. You can have one kiss their cheek, kiss their forehead. Like, just think about what you can do with their heads. And that's how you'll use lash. You can leave the class now. If you already got these, some poses, start adding this into it and it'll already add more images to each session that you're doing now. So I start every engagement session with what I call parent pleasers. Now these are the ones where they look at you in the camera, because these are the ones that the parents want. They're not gonna pick the almost kissy ones or some other crazy little poses that I'm gonna teach you in a little bit. They want these. So I always start where I tell them to hold each other in the back, just like this. This is all I do. They figure this out. I tell her to turn in a little bit, put her hand on his chest, and then I'm going to have her make sure that she is shifting her weight away. So here. Now he has his hand in his pocket. So I start with them both looking at me, the one in the middle, and then I say, okay, I want you to look at her, him to look at me. Take that. All right, you look at her, she looks at me. Take that. 3 pictures, 20 seconds, maybe. They haven't moved. But you can also shoot this wide and tight, especially if you have 2 cameras, but what I'm gonna show you today, there's only one. 1 camera, 1 lens. But this is how quickly you can get this done. And what we're gonna do is on a wedding day, we're gonna put them in what I call the pose of all poses. It is a very, very simple pose, but it will change everything in this little less than 10 minutes that we have. So this is it. Very, very, very simple. They're gonna face each other. She's gonna wrap her arms around up. He's gonna wrap his arms around her waist. You're gonna put the bouquet around his back. Now it is your job to make sure that the flowers are facing the camera. Her putting him down or anything like that and seeing the stems as opposed to the flower part is a waste. So we gotta make sure that we are representing the florist, because when you get into this situation where you have this little bit of time, you're going to put them in their favorite spot on their venue or your favorite spot if they're like, I don't care, but you have one place. Because in order to get this done in less than 10 minutes, you're not gonna travel around a venue. You're gonna put them in one spot and then you're going to shoot. So we're gonna pretend that this desert back here is their venue. Because if you take this photo, the venue behind them is represented. The florist, the gown, the suit, the hair and makeup. Everybody that was a part of this wedding is represented in this one photo, except the caterer and the DJ, which there's no real way to put them in a photo outside anyway. So, but if this is all you have, at least everybody could take this photo and post it and say congratulations at the absolute worst. So in order to do this entire flow, you start with the pose of all poses. Now, I do this with one lens. I will back up and I will take some wide shots of them in that pose of all poses. I'll have them do lash, and then I'll start moving my feet around, okay? So I'll come from a different angle, and I'll shoot from like above, on the side. They're not moving their feet. I might have them move their heads, but I'm going to keep moving around and getting different angles, high, low, tight, like you name it, of them there while switching just the lash. Now, the second thing that I'm going to do is veil shots. Now, that may seem like, oh, well, what if they don't have a veil? I always have a veil, always in my bag, because worst case scenario, I'm going to at least throw a veil over them and do an under the veil shot, whether she felt like wearing a veil all day or not. And they still want the shots regardless. A good example of this actually is this photo. So she has very short hair, did not wear a veil, but this photo is the one that she blew up in a 30 by 40 in her living room. If I didn't have that veil and throw it over them, they wouldn't have had the shot. So they don't have to be optional, and it's a really quick thing, especially if they already have it on. You can throw it, you can put it over them, you can do all the different things in veil shots, and they're still in that same pose. The only thing you're gonna do is take the bouquet away and make sure that she moves her hands from out here to like in here. And that's because, once again, everything closer to the camera is going to appear bigger. So if her hand is here, and you're doing a under the veil shot here, her hand is gonna look bigger than their heads. So you wanna make sure that they bring their hands down and in. So we do veil shots, then from there I'm going to have them walk towards me, and I'll have them look at me and smile, look at each other and smile, and I'll have them stop, I'll do lash. Have them turn around, walk back towards the venue. Because you know there's a lot of times where the planner's standing there like, all right, well, you got 3 minutes. So they turn and they start walking back towards the venue. Normally the planner's like, oh, okay, cool, and then starts walking, and I'm like, okay, wait, stop. Okay, do lash, and I'll keep going, but at least they're moving back towards the venue. Now, if we have more time, then we're gonna do fancy poses. So that's what I'm gonna go over now. But this is a little bit of an example of how I'll do that flow, but I actually have a video that I'm gonna play at the end where you can watch me actually execute this. So for the fancy poses, there are 3 of them. Now, I do the twirl and the dip at pretty much every wedding. It's the lift that I only do if they have a really tight dress and if it makes sense. But for the twirl, what's really important here is that the man for this photo is going to have his feet shoulder width apart. And he's gonna put his other hand in his pocket. Now his suit didn't really do too much when he lifted up his hand, so it's fine. But if it does, he has to unbutton, put his hand here. She's just going to grab it, and then you're going to give her a piece of the end of her train. She is not going to necessarily spin all the way around. What's important is that she takes the end of the train and throws it this way and that way, this way and that way. She doesn't have to move. So if there's a big ball gown or anything like that, they don't have to actually get this huge, large train all the way around and can still get this photo done. Now, I recommend if you're doing this to put on high-speed continuous so that you can get a lot of options as she is moving this dress. And she can look down or she can look over at him and smile, but don't have them look at you. That takes them out of this twirl moment. Because if they were really dancing and in this moment, they wouldn't be looking at the camera. Now, the lift, what's really important is they're gonna face each other. And what's the most important part is making sure that the man or whoever is picking the other one up bends with the knees. Where they go wrong is when they do this and pick her up. So you gotta bend with the knees and then wrap your arms underneath the butt and stand up. That's still the most extensive thing I've asked this man to do the entire flow, okay? And then he's just gonna look at her and smile. Now for her, she's going to put the leg closest to me and she's gonna pop it upwards, and then you can do different things with their hands. They can either just wrap around like she is. She can put her left hand on his face so you can see her ring. But what's the most important is making sure that they bring their noses close together. Because when they lift up and then they're looking at each other like this with all this space, it's awkward. You might as well just put them back down on the ground. And they have to bend their faces and bring their noses close together. And then for the dip, what's really important is that the man has his feet shoulder width apart and does not do this, okay? This is where we go wrong, because everybody's weight is right here. Now, sometimes it can be okay, and it'll work, kind of like him, because he has it turned a little bit, but he's also way taller than her. So he didn't really have a choice in order to get her down there. But here, what's important is if you only bend with your waist, that means you're going to recruit all the muscles back here. We all know that we're stronger back here than this one hip. So he's going to bend this way, and then bring noses close together. Now for her, what's important is that she's going to put her arm around his waist. For some reason, we naturally go to put it around his neck, but you're gonna feel like you're falling and you're not gonna feel as secure as you could. So you're gonna go around the waist here, and then this leg, the leg closest to me, is gonna pop out, and it is going to point. Now this is really important because this is not cute. It will ruin your whole photo, no matter what's going on. You have to have them point their toe when doing the dip. Okay, so any questions about this whole entire flow before I play the video and then get y'all the online course? Nope? Yes? Well, you kind of want a little bit. It won't be like as bad as I think you're envisioning it to be. Like, as long as her face doesn't look like this, like it'll be fine. But I mean, it's just a matter of them relaxing their faces. There's nothing really else they can do. Because when he's holding her, I mean, he could, if he's holding her upper back and like lower back while he's doing this, that's as secure as he's gonna make her. So there's nothing else you can do, but I have him bring his head to her. Because what I don't want is for her to turn her head towards him, and then this is what we're getting. So I have her just go straight back, and it's his job to bring his head here. Get that done. On her back somewhere. So it's hard to tell you exactly because the height difference make a difference of how he's gonna hold her. But I mean, it's somewhere along the back, whatever makes him feel like he's got her and her feel like he's got her. And then the other one is also around the back. So it's somewhere in here. Yeah, I mean, I say wrap around the waist and hold her back, and however they end up doing that works. Yeah. No, I'm so glad that you asked that question because I was about to go into the video that shows this. So my absolute favorite lens, most of y'all are gonna be like, what are y'all talking about? Is a Sigma Art 40 millimeter. Now most people are like, what is that? I know what a 35 is, and I have 50 because everybody's got a 50, but the 40 millimeter is the absolute fastest, sharpest lens I've ever put on my camera. I rarely ever take it off, and I regret it every time that I do. And I did the entire whole process that you're gonna watch in a minute with that one lens, my 40 millimeter. It is absolutely incredible. It's literally, it's like this big, and like, you know, the 50 and the 35 is smaller, but it's bigger, it's a little heavier, but it's worth it. Are you asking a question?
The camera you shoot.
Oh, the cameras that I shoot with are Canon R6s. I have two of those.
So you use an adapter?
Yes. And just the regular adapter, you don't need no fancy thing that does anything. That adapter just stays on my camera always.
You don't see any diminishes in quality ever?
Ever. Believe me, I tell you. Because I can shoot with any camera I want. So if I wanted to switch to Sony and use all Sigma lenses or anything like that, but I love my Canons and I love it with the adapter. I forget that there's even an adapter. I look at it as a part of my camera. I'm sorry?
Those are EF lenses.
Yes, they're EF lenses. Yeah.
How fast is 40?
Extremely fast. So watch this. I'm sorry? Oh, 1.4. So first, real quick, just in case anyone has to run out, if you want to grab this QR code, this will give you the online version of this. So if you want to go home and refresh your memory, I go over all this recorded, and this video that I'm about to play is also there as well if you want to refresh. If you go to do it and it says, like, gives you some error, sometimes when everyone's doing it at the same time, the system gets overloaded. But if you wait a couple minutes, try again, it'll go through. But before we play the video, I want you to know that this was recorded at a conference that I taught at in San Diego, and I had never met this couple. So I didn't do an engagement session with them, and you're gonna see how I have to kind of explain things like a couple times or redo a couple things, and you'll see the moments that are kind of like wasted with where I have to repeat things that I wouldn't have if I had actually worked with this couple prior. So I do this in like almost 9 minutes, but you'll literally see in between here a waste of a little bit of time. So I'm gonna go ahead and play the video. And hold it up here. Perfect. All right, hold each other in tight. And I want you to shift your weight to this knee here. Boom. Right there. All right, great. Put your foreheads together. I don't know why it's on a hard drive. Perfect. All right, Lindsay, bring your head this way towards me. Yep.
And the
Stay right
TV
there.
makes these photos look really
Beautiful.
bright. I'm bright, but I'm not this
Close your
bright. I
eyes.
don't know why the TV is making it like that.
Look at me one more time. Look at each other and smile. All right, I need y'all to laugh. It's so funny. Ha 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 ha. So funny. Ha ha ha. All right, perfect. All right, now, nope. Actually, put your hand right here for me. Just gonna focus on your ring. Bring your noses close together for a second. Close your eyes. Stay right there. Perfect. Both of you smile at each other. All right, look at me. Smile. Stay there. Perfect. Look at each other and laugh one more time for me. Ha 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 ha. Perfect. All right, so I'm gonna do veil stuff. I'm gonna take this away from you. All right, I'm gonna throw this over your head. So stay right where you're at. All right, bring your noses close together in here. All right, I'm gonna move your hair back to your face. Smiling, both of you, but eyes closed. All right, get a little bit closer to kissing. Yeah, there. Still smiling. All right, go ahead and kiss. All right, foreheads together real quick. All right, look at each other and smile. Smile and laugh. Ha 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 ha. Oh shoot, keep that smile. There we go. Perfect. One more. One more. Smile. Ha 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 ha. All right, perfect. Bring this back. Okay, it's falling out. Perfect. All right, noses close together. And just smile right there. All right, gotta turn to high speed continuous real quick. And one more time. Smiling. All right, Lindsay, look towards me. Kiss her right here. Yep, right there. All right, look down with your eyes. Yep, right there. Oh, keep kissing her, though. Sorry. Yep, perfect. One more. Beautiful. All right, now I want you to hold hands. Let's stick this back
So
in
y'all
here.
see, it's been 3 minutes and they haven't moved
That
at
time
all.
we'll hold hands. And just face me. Put your hand in your pocket. You're gonna hold this bouquet and make sure you hold it right here towards me. All right, you're gonna walk towards me. Oh, bring your suit jacket over. The other one, yeah. And then put your hand in your pocket from behind. Yeah, hold on. Yes, exactly, yep, I want this to be here. Yeah, no problem. All right, perfect. So you're gonna walk towards me, looking at me, smiling, and then I'll have you look at each other. So look at me first. Smile, 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 look at each other. Keep walking, keep walking. Stop right there. Bring your noses close together. Yep, perfect. All right, well that's foreheads and that works. Stay right there. Yep, put your foreheads back together. Perfect. All right, just look at each other and smile from there. Gorgeous. Okay, Lindsay, look towards me. Kiss her right over here somewhere. Yeah, there we go. Beautiful, look down to the ground. Perfect. All right, I want y'all to almost kiss, so get in close. Yes, perfect. Ooh, okay, go ahead and kiss. They actually look beautiful when they actually kiss. Let's do it. All right, so turn around and face that way. So just swing that dress all the way around. Yeah. Still gonna fluff it just a little bit, but you're gonna walk, so it's fine. All right, hold hands and walk slowly away. All right, Lindsay, look back at me and smile. Yes. All right, stop right there. Both of you bring your noses close together, right there. Right there. Beautiful. Don't move. Lindsay, look towards this way for me. Yep. Yes, that's perfect. Right there. Now look down to the ground. Perfect. Kiss her on her forehead. Beautiful. Stay right there. I'm going to swing this veil again. Beautiful. All right, let's turn it off on me. All right, turn back around. And swing that dress back around. All right, hold that bouquet the exact same place that you had it before on the side. Ooh, oh, that's good. Just leave it, leave it, leave it, leave it. Yep, it's just gonna drag because you're gonna run anyway. All right, so hold hands, same way, look to me, hand in pocket. And you're going to run this way looking at me, smiling, okay? Ready? All right, run, 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 smile, 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 smile. Perfect, that was perfection. All right, and go ahead and go back up there. So we're gonna do fancy poses. Yep, so we got a couple of minutes. All right, so we're gonna do a dip. So Lindsay, come over here for me. And I'm gonna make sure you're right in the middle of the circle here. Yep, come up a step. All right, now what's really important, you're gonna bring your arm out here. She's gonna put her back here. Only with your upper body, you're gonna lean this way, okay, to dip her backward. Yep. Now you're gonna hold on to his lower back, stick this leg out, and point your toe. Bring your noses close together. Let's do it. Now the bouquet, when you go down, make sure it faces me so I can see the flowers. Chew, chew. Yep, go ahead and hold it. Ooh, no, hold on. I have to let this out. As best I have time for, which is not perfect, but it'll get there. Get the job done. Or will it? All right, ready? Go ahead and dip her back. Yep, perfect. All right, go ahead and stand up. All right, I'm gonna have you come on this side. Oh, sorry, yep, switch. So, yep. Swing this back here. Now, face this direction. I'm gonna give you the flowers, and you face this direction as well. All right, so, no, hold it exactly how I handed it to you. With this hand, right here. Take a step over. Face me directly. Now, take your hand, put it up here. Yep, right here, like over here. Boom, so take his hand as if you're gonna twirl. So like, as if you're gonna twirl around like this. Yep, perfect. Now, I'm going to give you the end of this. And what I'm gonna have you do is swing it. All right, take that. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna move your body. So you're going to swing it in and swing it out. And you two are looking at each other, smiling. Now, unbutton your button. Right there. Turn, high-speed continues on. Actually, John, you can get a little bit closer to her. Yep, right there. All right, ready to smile at each other and throw that dress, girl. Yep. All right, Lindsay, so you have it high, I want it a little bit lower, so look right in here. You're gonna hand it something different? Yeah, here, go. Take that, there we go. Yeah. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, swing. Yes. All right, how many minutes am I done? I think I'm done. Boom, all right, we did it. All right, so we have just a couple minutes left for Q&A, if you have some. Otherwise, if you miss it, this is the QR code that you can go home and rewatch all of that at home.
Thank
All
you.
right. Yes, sir.
Hi.
So we can all hear, so,
Okay.
but you're, because I've got it up there.
He's back
Thank you.
there.
Yeah.
Hi. Amazing works. I love your
you.
portfolio. Only one question. You told us about the 40 millimeters, but I'm sure you have more lenses, right?
Yeah, oh yeah, I have a whole
I guess I missed it. Can you just?
No, you didn't miss it. That's the only one that I talked about because that's the only one that I try to use in all.
Oh, okay. Do you have more lenses? And if you could tell
Oh,
us,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, my other
like
ones,
the top 4 maybe.
top 4, I can
Yeah,
do that. So
thank you.
we're gonna start with 40, and then we're gonna go to my 85. 1.4 Sigma art is amazing. And then, let's see, 40, 85, what would be my next one? A really other random one that most people don't know about is a 70. So they have a 70 macro for detail shots that is incredible and is underrated. Most people don't know about it, just like the 40. And then after that, it would have to be something wide. So I would say maybe my 14 to 24. That's a 2.8, just because it gives me so much space. I don't know how that works. I think they're handing the
Just go ahead,
the
yeah.
mic around.
Do you use Flash?
Like, absolutely. And in that video, there was some shadows in the photos, but that's because they were using video lights to shoot the video. So there was shadow coming from places that didn't make no sense. But yes, I absolutely use Flash. I am not like a super lighting person though. Like I will put my flash on and bounce it off the ceiling or use a Magma. I'm not doing no big setups with the umbrellas and stands and all like I'm not going. That's just not me.
You gotta
I'd rather
hustle.
take them outside and get the sun to make that happen. Now, do I have it if I need it? Yes. Yes.
You're talking about how sharp that lens is. Do you ever use soft focus filters, or do you soften the image afterwards? Because sometimes it can be too sharp and too harsh.
I don't know nothing about that.
No, okay, all right.
I've never experienced, oh my God, this is too in focus.
That is too-
But that's just me. But so no, I've never used like a soft filter and any of that
all right,
personally.
okay, thank you.
Yeah. He's coming. Or, oh gosh, you keep skipping this, man. I keep trying to clip on.
Saw someone over here.
Well, okay.
Hi there. Thank you for the class. I want to get your opinion on, I don't know if maybe this would fall more into engagement photo category, but couples who don't touch before the ceremony.
Okay. So, I mean, there isn't even like a exact rule that like goes across all of the different cultures that don't touch before. But you have to kind of ask them, step one, what they are comfortable doing, just like you asked about the insecurities. So they'll tell you, oh, I can only touch hands, or, you know, we can't touch all that type of thing. But I mean, if they can't touch at all, you're gonna just have to pose them separately. And there's no real like, oh, you must do this, this, and that, because it depends on where you are, if you're on stairs or flat or that type of thing. And I mean, all you can do is keep playing around with like the depth of field, where you have one person here, maybe the man is back there looking off and that type of deal. But other than that, you just can only do what they allow. If they'll just hold hands, then they can just do the walking part of it. But they probably don't want to get any closer, like I've been teaching this entire time. But it just all kind of depends on what they're comfortable with. You're welcome.
Hi. Thanks so much. Your work is beautiful. Did you say what your camera settings were? Did you say you shot them at 1.4?
No. That's just the lowest open that it goes. But I did shoot this at 2.2.
You shoot, is
I
that
shoot wide open.
wide open and no focus problem? One, the other,
Nope.
everybody's in focus with the 40?
Yes,
Okay, cool.
absolutely.
That's
And then the 85. So like if I have to do like a group photo, like a bridesmaids, that type of thing, if I have enough space, I'm gonna use my 85.
Yeah,
I get super low on my aperture and everyone is super crisp still.
cool.
I mean,
Thank
you know, as long as you put them all in one line, on the one
Yeah,
plane.
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
Thanks.
of course. Can you come here, in the front in here? Hold on, he's gonna bring you the mic though. The manual, oh yeah, manual.
Okay, so we saw that you can do in 8 minutes, but what you're gonna do in an hour?
I know, right? I'll be done. Well, one, I don't move as fast, but you can also do that exact same thing in 2 to 3 locations. If you have that space and time, you can run through that, and then, I mean, you could always add extra, like them sitting down somewhere. And even if they sit down somewhere, they can just do L.A.S.H, and then you can just change their body positions. You can start with their side by side and do L.A.S.H. You can start where she kind of leans this way and does, like, She can put her legs over his legs and do it. So like there's other different, a whole lot more. But here, that's why I just teach just that. Because if you can get this down and repeat it 2 to 3 times in an engagement session or at a wedding in different locations, you still have a ridiculous amount of images in a little bit of time. Yes.
When people say they have insecurities, do you have some tips for addressing them? Like I've had some brides who had very prominent double chins or tummies. Like how do you adjust your poses to speak to the things that they are insecure about?
Absolutely. So for especially those two, those are the most popular. Naturally with the weight shift, that's going to come and it will allow them to be able to suck in if they want to. But outside of that, if they're sitting down, you can have them cross their legs in front of them. I'm going to try to show you the difference. So if someone's just sitting here, this is one. But if they cross their legs here and then kind of like lean forward, my stomach is non-existent. You cannot see it. So that's one thing that you can do there. And then for the chin, no matter what they're doing, where they are, you always tell them to stick their chin out, and they're going to feel like a turtle when they do it. But it's always going to look better because the camera is not going to be able to tell between our head being here and make a big difference, but it will absolutely smooth this out. If they are like here and they lean here as opposed to here, of course, it's going to naturally look better and make them look longer. And that's all you can do is say this. I'm sorry. I don't even know where they are. Hey, sorry.
Hi, thank you for this. What do you use to call your images?
I actually still use Photo Mechanic. Personally, I use Imagine to edit, but I just have this thing. I haven't let go of the culling just yet to AI. But editing, absolutely, Imagine can have it. Oh, they can do that.
Hi. Hi. What type of poses do you like to do directly after the first look? Is it the same stuff, or is it just a little different because they're first seeing each other? Like, do you like to let them be alone together for a minute and you just kind of back?
They get a couple minutes.
They get a couple minutes?
But then we gotta go.
Okay.
But yes, I do like the same thing for the most part. Like we'll start off, I typically will just start with walking. That always kind of like loosens people's like, stress up and that type of thing once they start walking, and then I'll do more static poses. But if they're already like nervous, excited, and you want to make them stay still, it's a little bit harder. So I go into that and then go throughout the flow and that type of thing. Yes.
Hi.
Hi.
So thank you for your lecture. Question, nowadays with all the social media, a lot of couples, they will want also like reels, like kind of type of like a video or like taking the pictures and edit it for them with the music. Are you charging them extra for it, or it's like it's a different package, or are you just giving it to them, or?
So my company, I have photo and video, so I have a whole like video team that would be on it, and we have a whole system down. But like for that content creation thing, I haven't really fully got into it to the point where I'm like, oh, I'm going to charge you for this. I have somebody who comes and does behind the scenes, like up until like the main things at the reception, unless there's an exit. And even then, sometimes I'll just use my own phone if I really want to exit. But having that extra person there, worth it. Like, I mean, you can pay them like $20 an hour or something for like 4 or 5 hours, and you can get enough content to have for months. So I think it's worth it to do that. And then if you get to the point where you're going to charge people for it, do that. But I haven't just yet, because I'm really doing it for myself. I'm not even worried about, if you want this, I'll airdrop it to you. But right now, I'm mainly making sure that I have behind the scenes for myself.